Okay, start recording. And then I need to start my audio also in the other one. Okay, let's start. So in this session, what we are trying to do, so we just need to understand like basic stuff before we go into automation and using all the managed services. For that, what I have done is I just created a small web application. I've taken the code from some of the tutorial from Free Code Camp. I'll show you how to get that code and download it and build the application, run it on your local machine, and then we can deploy it to the AWS cloud. But we will do everything manually today. So these are the things I'm planning to do for this. First, we will create a RDS instance for SQL Server, and then we'll create a Windows EC2 instance. Then we'll install IIS. Also, we need to install .NET Core Web Hosting Runtime. This is to run the application because I'm using the .NET latest version, which is a platform independent version, .NET 5. So it is 5. The previous version, we didn't need to use this. We can directly host it on IIS, but this we need to have this runtime for .NET Core. Then I'll show you how to get the code from GitHub to my machine and then build it using Visual Studio 2019. And also there is a thing called database migration. So this is using a framework called Entity Framework, which is data access layer used for .NET application. It is called ORM, Object Relational Mapping Framework for .NET. So when you create a class, so that framework will convert that class into a database table. So you don't need to go and create your database tables or schemas on the database. So that helps you to save a lot of time, and the developers can be working independently without having support of a database guy or DBA. So basically this is just a script. So when you run that, it will create some scripts for your DML or DDL to manipulate your schemas on the database. And then we'll run this on locally. After that, we will deploy it on IIS. And then if we get time, we will do this DNS thing, because to reflect propagate DNS, it will take some time, but let's see how it goes. If we have time, we'll do that as well. I have some DNS record. Let's see whether we can use it. So this is for this one. And in our next session, what I'm planning to do, we'll use Elastic Beanstalk to automate or like avoid all these manual things and make it easy and make it enable for one-click deployment. And then next we will try to use AWS code pipeline to automate the build and deployment process. So that is for the future. For today, we'll focus on this. So first thing, I'll just go to my console. And then let's create a RDS instance for SQL Server. Okay, let's create a database. So I'm selecting Microsoft SQL Server here. I'll be selecting the Express Edition, which is the cheapest one. And then version is 2019. Database name, I'll give it a name. I'll say this application is about a listing of books. It's very simple application. Just you can do insert, update, delete operations. Books. Book list. Password. Okay, I'll just note down the password, otherwise I'll forget that. So this storage I'm keeping as it is by default, general purpose SSD. The instance, the smallest one I'm choosing, T3 small. And then auto scaling, enable storage auto scaling, I don't need this. Then VPC, I'm keeping the default VPC. Subnet also I'm keeping default subnet, I don't have anything. So I'm giving public access because I just need to access this database from my machine. When I build the application, I just need to connect to it and test it. Also, I need to run that script that I explained you to create the table on the database. VPC security group, I think I have created DB zone dev. I just created this before, so I'll explain how it is. Because I have added an extra rule there just to connect from my machine for the SQL Server port. Availability zone, I don't need anything. So this is the database port 1433. SQL Server Windows authentication, I don't need that. Additional configuration, parameter group, option, I'm not going to use any of this. Backup, I don't need backups. Performance insights, I don't need. Monitoring, I don't need. Logs, maintenance, nothing. So this will cost me $32 if I run it for the whole month, but I'm running it only for this exercise. After that, I'll delete. So maybe it'll cost me a couple of dollars, maybe a couple of cents. So create database. So starting up. So this will take a couple of minutes. So meanwhile, I'll go and I'll create a Windows server as well. EC2.
Manjula, question regarding the price. Were you able to see the price previously, or this feature was added recently?
I think it was there. I mean, only thing it's showing an estimated price for a month, but it depends. Like if you keep it for the whole month, it will cost you that much. But since we are not going to use it, or if you even stop the instance, you will not. You will be not charged that much.
I see.
Yeah, but I think that was there. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember.
And I think there's gonna be additional charge for data throughput in and out.
Yeah, if you select that storage, backups, multi-AC, things like that, then the cost will be more.
Exactly.
So I'll create an EC2 here. So I'm going to select the free tier option and I'll find Windows. I'm going to use Windows Server Base. This also we can use if you want to use containers. For example, instead of we use RDS, we can have SQL Server running on a container and run on the same server. But I tried that, but it needs a lot of storage, and because this is very small, so if we choose a bigger instance, it might work. So I just go with this now. So Windows Server Base version. T2 micro, and I'll go to the configuration. Default VPC subnet, I'm using the default. So I'll use enable for public IP address because we need to access this application from the internet. I don't need placement groups, capacity I don't need, domain we don't need, IAM role I'm not going to use, shutdown behavior no need, hibernation, monitoring we don't need, tenancy, we don't need any of these things. So storage, this will give you 30 GB SSD storage, encrypted, and it will be deleted on termination. Next, I'll add a tag here. Just for our understanding, we'll say name. And this maybe we can do in another session, how to use these types on the service manager, I guess, or the groups. What is that? Service groups, to filter and see what are the things, and if you want to apply multiple changes on those groups. So let's say this is app server book list. Also just say environment dev. Security group, I can create a new one, but I have already created a web security group for this. Okay, because this I have given remote desktop access for this port 3389, which I'm going to use from my machine to connect remotely. Review and launch. T2 micro security group web DMC. This is my custom security group, and these are the rules allowed. We have HTTP port 80. This is IPv6. This is IPv4. That's why there are two rules: RDP access and HTTPS on 443. Instant details. I mean, these are okay. We don't need to verify that much. So let's launch it. And then I have to choose my key pair here. I have created my key pair. I'll just select that, accept, and launch instance. Okay, so now I go to instance. Okay, so my instance is coming up. Let's see our database thing. Database is still creating. So meanwhile, what we'll do, we'll get the source code from GitHub. So I'll show you, this is from one of the free code camp tutorials. So if you follow this, I'll send this link on the Slack. So this is very simple and it's very interesting. I mean, it's not too simple, but it's like easy to follow up. So this source code, you can get it for both the models. One is the Razor pages and the NVC. So these are like .NET stuff. You don't need to worry that much. So I have opened the repository here. So what you can do, you can go here and click this. So it will copy this link. And then you go to your, what do you call, Git Bash or the command prompt, and then you can run git clone and give this URL so you can able to download that. So before I do, I'll just create a folder here. I already have done that before. I'll just delete this. I think it'll create a folder automatically. So I'll do git clone. So this will download the source code from the GitHub repository to my local machine. Then I'll open that from Visual Studio. Okay, so now we have this. This is the solution file. I'll open it from Visual Studio 2019. So it'll take some time to open. Let's see, anything happens on our server. Okay, our Windows server is running. Oh, this is also available, good. So I can test the connectivity for this from my machine. So if you open, this is the public endpoint. So you can, what I will do, I will go to command prompt and see whether I'm able to connect to that port. Telnet. Yes, and port is 1433. 1433. Connecting. Looks like some problem. Maybe still not available.
Windows is pinging, Manju.
Yeah, Farooq?
Windows server is pinging.
Windows server, I didn't check. I'll check.
And also just check this DB subnet, the DB subnet, which you have
Yeah,
attached.
the security group I need to check maybe.
Yeah, so you have attached the default. Is
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah, this is the problem.
yeah. Manju, one question here. This
Yeah.
you have used this command utility mingw. What is use of this?
Which one, Farooq?
GW.
Where it is?
Yeah, you have cloned na something. You have Git
Oh,
clone.
the Git thing. Okay, this is so this is Git Bash. It's like a command prompt. It's like a terminal, Linux terminal.
So this utility. So basically, this is the Linux running Linux terminal in Windows.
Not Linux terminal exactly. So when you install Git runtime on the Windows, you will get this Git Bash.
Okay, got it.
But you don't need this, I think, when you're running in Linux, because that support has already in the Linux terminal.
Yeah, that's what actually I had this doubt. What is use of this?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, the problem is, Farooq, you're correct, because of the security group. So I think we cannot change it now. Let me see whether we can add rules here. Otherwise, we have to drop it and recreate.
Manju, you can just add a new rule there itself.
Yeah, that's it. So we'll add a rule here.
Manjula, one of the good practices to remove the default VPC.
Yeah, correct. So I'll add a rule for the SQL Server port. SQL. I think we have to give custom protocol.
So you're adding a rule to one of the subnet in that default VPC for public?
Yeah, for the database, for me to connect to the database from my local machine.
So the internet gateway, everything, route tables, everything is in place?
So we are not going to use any internet gateway. So when you create this RDS and when you enable that public thing, and if the port is open, I can connect it from anywhere. That is not a good practice. We are just doing it for the sake of the exercise.
I see. So,
yeah.
So Manju, the question from Amir is internet gateway. So answer to his question is like, this is a default VPC, and it already has their own route table and internet net gateway basically. So it is utilizing that default one.
I see, got it. Yeah, because you need to, this database is running on the subnet anyways.
Yeah.
And it should have the internet gateway.
Yeah. So I added custom TCP rule for this port 1433, and this is from any source, and I'll say DB access from internet. Okay, now let's see whether it is working. Yeah, now it is working. So that's good. Now let's see my source code. Yeah, it is also opened. Let me build this. Build. Also, only change here we need to do, we need to just change the connection string and give our RDS. So here, this is just a local thing. So we will give the RDS connection string. So it's built successful.
Manjula, this is in which programming language?
This is C#. This is
C#.
Feroz?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Yeah, Feroz, this is C#, and the programming language is C#, but on top of that, it's in .NET there is a framework specifically to develop web applications called ASP.NET.
ASP.NET, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
so this is ASP.NET and also the latest version. So the latest version of ASP.NET supports Windows and Linux. Maybe in next one of our next session, we can plan it to host it on Linux using container or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so now for the server, I have to give my connection, my server endpoint, and then database name is, we gave a book list, right? So remaining thing I'll keep as it is. And then I have to do one more thing. I have to run a thing called the migration. So that will create, it will run a script based on, here we have something called models. So these models, for example, I just explain simply. So this model has 4 properties: ID, name, author, and ISBN. So typically we should have a table called book in our database, and that table should have 4 columns: ID, and since we have given this key, it will be this will be auto created on the database. When you create a record in the table, the ID will be auto generated. We are not going to pass it from the application. Name, author, ISBN, these are 3 string properties, and from the database I think it will be created as varchar. I will check that.
Manju, one thing for the DB connection, you have mentioned the host name, right?
So I gave the endpoint. This is the public endpoint.
Yeah. So basically here, just I want to edit here, Manju. You are in the application server and you are pointing to this endpoint.
Yeah.
Just this connection will be happening through public or how it is?
Currently it is happening through public. So so this, when you create RDS, it will give you endpoint. So it doesn't matter from where you connect. So it can be, let's see, we go to
Basically, my what is it? Thinking process is like we have same kind of this thing in S3. One of the application server was connecting to S3, and we were using the public S3 URL, and it was the connectivity was slow. So then finally we found that we should be using the endpoint actually. So when we use endpoint, it is not going through the public internet. It is using their internal networks actually.
So I think this, when we access this from inside the server, it will go from internal network. I don't think it will go to internet and then come back.
No,
because
it will go internal only.
Yeah,
that's why
because
what it is.
Yeah. Now I have added that extra security group just for me to connect from here. But let's say we don't have that, and then nobody can connect from outside the AWS. So even I access this from application server, it will go internally only.
Okay, thanks, Manu.
Yeah. So now I need to run here. Where is my terminal window? Into migration.
Manju, this database name also you updated?
I added book list.
I think you have mentioned that books list.
List, or I kept it somewhere. No. I think it was book list only, right?
Can you just check that database in RDS?
Book list.
It is books list actually, not book list. As you need to add.
Yeah, books list, correct.
Yeah, I was just thinking it will fail later.
Yeah. So here I need this NuGet package manager console, and then here I need to say I forgot the command for this. Okay, this one, .NET EF migration. Could not execute specific command or file is not found. Why is that? Oh, for that we need this .core CLI.
Angela, what was the error and what was the steps you could resolve it?
So I'm trying to run this one, Amir, this .NET EF migration at intern. So this will create a script based on that model class which we had. So that was failing, so that's what I'm trying in a different window. Package manager console, see .NET could not specify, could not execute. Even misspelled a bit. Okay, through Visual Studio, I have to use this one, not the other command. So it created now, if you see here, it has created this new folder called migrations, and then there are a couple of scripts I've created. So these scripts will basically create a table. See here, you get this create table, table name is book, and then it will add columns. So based on our property file, it will say, okay, whether it's nullable, and whether it's a key identity. So this means that it will create a key and then add another column called for author and name. So that's basically it. So this is like all developer tool support that Microsoft have given for developers just to make the things easier. Okay, so once we run that, and then we have to run one more command to push that. So the command I created will just created these scripts, and then next one is to push those things to the database. So that is update database.
So
So if
basically,
you can,
Manju, now itself this remote database is connecting and you're pushing it there, right, in RDS?
yeah. So it is connected. So now it gives some error, failed to generate SSPI context. What's that mean? That is something problem. Microsoft Entity Framework, Infrastructure Framework 3. Okay, I think my Entity Framework version have some problem, looks like. Oh, it's 5 only. Okay, connection open. So connection is opened. Operation database execute action. Client connection ID. Failed to generate. I don't know. Let's try again. I don't know what was the issue. Not. So let's run and see whether, I don't know. Not sure what happened. So if we have a UI to connect to the SQL server, like SQL Server Studio or something, then we can check whether the table is created or not. So this is trying to launch on local host. The application is launching, and then let's see, when I go to books, it will try to connect to the database. Let's see, we'll find out. If it is not working, then we'll get an error. Yeah, see, now it's giving a problem. See, SQL injection fail generate SS. So this, we need to see what is the problem actually. This is first time I'm seeing this error. Okay, SQL sign failed to generate. How to troubleshoot the cannot create context error. Something related to access only, understanding.
Manju, if you have a DML, we can run it there still.
No, 1 minute, 1 minute. I think I have some ideas. So this trusted connection is the problem. I'll just remove this and try again. Because that is related to this Windows authentication, I think so. So we'll go to that Git package manager again, and then run that command. Okay, now it failed with something else. So looks like that only. Let's see what else here. Multiple active result is fine. Okay, let me Google this connection string. Where is the file browser? Oh wait, let me check my connection string from my previous build. I'll get it from there. I'm just copying the connection string from my previous one. Hold on. Let's use this. Where is command is coming? Yeah, it worked. So see, now you can see these SQL scripts are running. So it's done. So all this will have insert, create table and all that. So it was a problem in the connection string. The connection string was used in the tutorial was not exactly matching for this version of the framework or the way we are using. So let's see. Now the application part is fine. So if we run this, now we should be able to run the application successfully, and let's see, we can create a record and retrieve it back. Okay, meanwhile, maybe we can try to connect to our Windows instance and start working on that. Here I'll get my password, get Windows password. I have to choose my key pair. And this machine is too slow. Okay, I select my key pair, decrypt password, and it gives me this password to connect to the Windows machine from RDP. I'll just save it here. Close, and then I'll open my remote desktop. Then I have to pick this public IP, or even I can pick this DNS. So I pick the public IP, copied here. I'll use another user dot administrator, and password is this one. Okay. Oops. Okay, so it's problem with this marketer domain. This way, I think administrator. Yeah. So it was clashing with my domain. That is my office domain. So it's initiating the server. So while we are here, I'll just install IIS, and then we'll go back to our application. So IIS is basically a web server for Windows. What is this? So I have to go to server manager. So what IIS does is it hosts websites or web applications on Windows, and then it does a lot of things. It has load balancing. It has functionality of a proxy server, which means it takes connections from the internet, and based on your application path, it can distribute to your application. Even you can host multiple applications on the IIS, and then it can do the routing. So here we have to go and install IIS. Okay, you have to wait a minute. Next. So here I use web server IIS. So it gives you this IIS management console add feature. Next. So it comes with .NET. This is already installed, but this is the previous version of .NET. So we need to install one more, which is 5. We'll do that after this. Next. Here we have to select a couple of features. I think maybe we don't need that, because anyway we are not going to use these features here. We just need HTTP services. Management we already have. Application development. We don't need this because we're not going to use them. ASP, server side, WebSocket, no, none of them. Let's see if it doesn't work, we'll come and install. I don't think we need that. Okay, so while it is installing, let's go back to our application and see whether it's working. So it has launched, and let's go to book and see. Yeah, so it works. Okay, so this has, okay, in this tutorial is explaining 2 ways of building this. So that's why this or. So I just remove one of these because it's unnecessary for us to confusions. So this is in the pages. So go to the pages, book list, and the index. I'll remove the top section. Remove this. Div. Oh no, I have to stop and run. Okay, this is installed. And also we have to install one more component, so we'll do that as well. I think I have already opened it. So this is the one ASP.NET Core 5 runtime for Windows hosting bundle. So I need to copy this URL, go to the server, download from there. It doesn't support downloads. So you have to allow this download, file downloads from Internet Explorer. Oh, where is file download? Downloads, okay, enable. God damn it. Okay, go. Windows should ship some good browser, man. This Internet Explorer sucks. Okay, let it download. Okay. Scanning. Run. So this will install the runtime for .NET 5. Install. Just check our app, how it is going. Okay, good. Okay, this OR is remaining. Let's remove that also. So it's here. So this is done. So after doing this, we just need to restart this server from, the IIS service. So for that, there was a command. So this is to stop the web servicing service, web publishing service. So stop, then start again. Okay, so it's working now. Now, so we can open and see whether internet service IIS is working or not. Open the IIS server. So this is the Internet Information Manager console. So here is everything's happening. So you can create websites, applications, everything. So this gives you a default website. So if you browse, it will just show you the server homepage. See, now it gives you. So now what we can do, we can try to use this public IP and see whether it's working from the internet. So go to server, copy this either public IP, or we can copy this DNS as well. Yeah, so we can access the server. Now let's deploy our application. Okay, we ran this again, right? Okay, go to books. Good. We'll just create a book and see. Name, let's say introduction. AWS. Okay. Author Martin. ISBN. Create. So it created the book. Now, application-wise, it looks okay. So next thing is we have to publish this application and then upload the files to the server. So let's just go to here, select the option publish. And then there are a couple of options. So we can explore these other options in our next session. So now we are going to do just folder. So it will create all the bundles or the DLLs, whatever. The artifact basically you have to deploy into a folder, and then we manually copy this to IIS. There are other ways you can create Azure deployment. So this will directly host onto Azure app services, I guess. Or you can create a Docker container out of it and then host it, or you can put it on FTP, or even you can use IIS directly. So there is another thing called web deploy. So you have to install this web deploy service. I think it's called, not a service, I don't know, web deploy agent on IIS, and it will give you some configuration file. So we can configure that on Visual Studio, and then directly from here to the server we can deploy. So, but today we'll do this folder deployment. I'll just create a folder inside our source code. I'll just call it publish. And then I'll give that path here. Finish. So click on publish. So it'll take a couple of minutes. Meanwhile, I'll go to the server and I'll create an application. So I'll delete this default. Even we can use default and put it on the same folder. Just for the sake of exercise, we'll remove this. Okay, and then another thing here is that normally we use this application pool if it is classic .NET, like .NET Framework 4 or below 5. We create application here, let's say test app. And then here you have to select the framework version, 4 points, it ups to 4 points. And then assign this application pool to the website. So that was the traditional way. For the latest version of .NET, we are not using this. So we create an application pool without the framework here. So it's called unmanaged. So for this, let's say we'll create it as book list. And then here I select no manage code. And then I go to website. Here I create, select add website. For the site name, I'll call it book list. From the application pool, I will select the application pool which I have created here. Book list here. And then physical path. By default, it goes to C, inet pub, www root. So I'll just select the default path as well. And it will be hosted on port 80. Okay. So it's created. Now we just need to copy the files. So publish is successful. We go here to the publish folder. I'll just select, I'll compress because this will be like, it'll take some time. So I'll zip this. And then I'll copy to the server manually. So I can click here, so it'll open the folder. I'll just copy the files. You guys have any questions or is it clear?
No, it's clear.
Bro. Yeah.
I'm gonna
It's good,
watch the
Manju.
recording again.
Because
Yeah,
this
At the
Windows
same
is
time.
Windows is a little bit new for me also. Like
okay. Yeah,
I need
it
to
is
watch
like
it.
little bit more most. I'll document this also.
Yeah,
All the
that would
steps
be.
into small, because even we spend like more than 1 hour. If you see the number of things we did, it's less only, but it takes time to copy, create instance and all that. So I'll document everything step by step, and then I'll share your link. Maybe I'll put it in my blog.
Yeah, then we can follow, and if I have issues, we can come to you for questions.
Yeah. Okay, it's done. Now I'll unzip this. Okay, so it's done now. Let's see whether it's working from the server. Yep, it's working. So now we can access this from our machine. Oh, why this thing is coming? Where did I open that? You can also try. I'm just putting this message URL on the Slack. So just open and see whether it's working. So we can see the book which we have added. We'll add a couple of more. So this is .NET, Manjula, some number. Yeah, it works. So we also, this app is very good for learning if anyone is interested to learn a little bit .NET. It has update also, and it has delete as well. See, now also you can delete, and it gives you this nice alert. If you say okay, it will go away. It's good app. So see this toaster messages. I mean, it's a small app, but it's nice. So that's it. So
Question.
yeah,
This app directly do the CRUD operations on the database, right?
correct. Yes. Now it's happening on the server. So okay, let me show you that. I have, but that is in my other computer. Okay.
That's fine. I mean, if you provide the instruction, I can do it this way. We can come back to you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to show you like connecting to the database locally. Let me switch to my other computer, and I'll share the screen from there.
Okay.
Test. Okay, so now we have two records. Now I'll stop this sharing and I'll share the screen from other. I think we'll stop the recording. I think that's sufficient.